1, 2. Hello. Yes. Yes. Oh, there you go. We're alive. We're
Am
on.
I live as well? Hello? Yep. There we go.
You're on.
Very, very light. Okay. Very, very. Yep.
That's all right. Well, good morning, Wangaratta, and welcome back to day 2 action here of the statewide Stampede, opening 2 rounds. And this clash between the Banshees and the Chico Rollers. Good morning, my name is JR, and I'm joined by the lovely Judy Bench. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
Yesterday, day 1 action filled with plenty of drama, high scores. Hi. And a great way to kick off the 2020 Stampede season.
And things are just about to get underway for the second half. We currently have Chico Rollers at 91 to the Banshees 56.
Skaters take advantage of the fact that there's just a slight delay getting the second half underway. Both jammers more than happy to have a bit of a boogie on the jammer start line. It's always a fun thing to do. Kill a bit of time. So it looks like we're just about set to get the second half clash underway between South Sea Roller Derby Banshees and Dragon City Roller Derby, the Chico Rollers. So it is then we get this one underway, and it looks like jamming for the Banshees. It is Betty Bruiser.
And we have Library Fine jamming for the Chicos.
And wasting no time getting out through the pack first. It is Bruiser taking up the lead at jammer for the Banshees.
With Library not that far behind.
The blocker advantage going the way of the Banshees, and they've used that to full effect. Just the 2 points then added to the Banshees total, moving them along to 58 playing 91. Again, the blocker advantage going the way of the Banshees. Can't quite make out who the two jammers are.
Banshee's jammer is Bad Jelly the Witch.
Yep.
And then we have...
Oh, of course, it's 181. That's Cunning Linguist jamming for Chico Rollers. Cunning Linguist getting on through the pack, getting up lead jammer. The initial pass is all done and dusted. The scoring pass is all but complete as well. That's 4 points for Cunning Linguist there on that previous pass.
Bad Jelly is still stuck in the pack.
Yeah, just finding it a little bit tricky to get on through the pack. Cunning Linguist on that previous pass, using the outside part of turns 1 and 2 very nicely to get through for their 4 points.
Initial pass is now completed for Bad Jelly, and the star's gone back on a helmet.
So 12 points then been added to the Chicos total, moving them over the 100 mark. 103 playing 58. So then we get this one underway. It looks like Betty Bruiser jamming for the Banshees. And 22, that is jamming for the Chico Rollers. Argy Bargy, of course, has picked up lead jammer. Just the 1 point added to the Banshees total there. 3 for Chico Rollers.
And we've got Bad Jelly up again for the Banshees, up against Library Fine for Chicos.
And the blocker advantage going the way of the Chicos too. 4-3 blocker advantage, and Library Fine using that beautifully. Getting on through, picking up lead jammer. Jelly the Witch not to be outdone. Also getting through the pack nice and quickly. And working the inside line of turn 1 nicely. Library Fine just trying to find a way through the Banshees defence, more than up for the challenge, but getting through on the inside part of turn 2. Library Fine, it's another 4 points adding to the total.
Library's running this jam, obviously trying to get people out of the bin. And that was a great hit out there.
It seems some really good defence from both teams. Early stages of this second half. We've got our first official timeout for the second period. Good opportunity to thank Northeast Roller Derby Nerd for hosting this weekend's opening 2 rounds of the 2020 statewide Stampede season. And of course, none of this is possible without the continued support of Skate Victoria. And to them we say a huge thank you. To all the refs, all the NSOs, all the officials.
And the photographers.
And the photographers. And to Niall for allowing us to be heard, and not only in the building but online at home. Big shout out to all the fans listening and tuning in on at home, rather, wherever you may be. We had people from New Zealand joining in yesterday, which was awesome.
People from Canada.
And Canada. We're global. We're massive. And of course, to all the fans that are in the building this morning, a beautiful, sunny, warm-ish Sunday here in Wangaratta. We should take this outside, seriously.
Sunburn.
Outside roller derby.
Sunburn.
Who's for it?
Sunburn.
Sunscreen.
Reapplying that regularly, no.
Oh. Find the positives, dude. Find the positives. Come on, work with me here. But I reckon it's the thing. Outdoor roller derby on a day like today.
Sunset roller derby would be amazing.
Sunset roller derby. Well, picture this. Roller derby under a tree. Nice, beautiful platter. Bottle or 10 of wine and roller derby. I mean, come on, right? What's there not to like about that? You're welcome. I'm a man of vision. I'm going to make this work. I'm going to do this one day.
I love the bottle of wine is the whole,
you know,
giving it a bit of class.
Right. Give me a platter and a bottle of red and I'm pretty much happy. Tell you what I'm not happy about is this little thing that's going global at the moment called coronavirus. That thing's got me really, really sad. Continue to look after yourselves, people. More importantly, continue to look after one another because it looks like this thing is here and it's here to stay for a little while longer. A lot of sporting events around the globe have succumbed to coronavirus. But Derby, so far, is still a go and we like that.
And we're underway. We've got, I believe it is Betty Bruiser versus Cunning Linguist.
Yep.
With Cunning Linguist for the Chicos out first.
Yeah, wasting no time yet again. Cunning Linguist, nice work on the outside part of turns 1 and 2. Saw a little bit of a gap there. And all these top flight jabbers, that's all they need. Just a little bit of a gap.
It's also those very long legs.
Yeah. To be able to work their craft, you give them no space to work in, but they manage to find space. So the action is then down in turns 3 and 4. Bit of a split back. Betty Bruiser, though, we're at the front, just being given all sorts of grief by the Chicos blockers, giving her plenty to think about. KTKO taking Betty to the inside part of turn 4. And again, Betty being recycled back into turn 3, but that one's been called off.
That Chicos pack is definitely a very strong pack to go up against.
I love this song.
And we've got Bad Jelly up against Argy Bargy.
Argy Bargy then out in the front. They're just trying so hard to work the seams of this very, very tight and unforgiving Banshees defence.
However, has been called for a high lock and is going to the bin. As lead had not been called, we've still got a chance for Bad Jelly to pick it up.
Yep. Unfortunately for Argy Bargy being sent to the penalty box, which means this jam will go for the full 2 minutes. So the pack then just somewhat stagnant down there on the back straight away. With it all to do, though, finding it very, very tough. The Chicos defence more than up for the task of holding Jelly the Witch up. Argy Bargy then making nice use of the track, centre part of the track, getting on through.
Leaders now just being pulled. Bad Jelly the Witch for the Banshees with lead.
Nice little spin out of trouble there from Jelly the Witch on that previous pass.
And it looks like Argy Bargy is back in the penalty box. This is exactly what the Banshees needed. Been able to pick up with some points.
Yeah, nice bit of footwork again. But Jelly the Witch showing us that she's very strong on both sides of her body. Just working the inside part, or the outside part rather, of the main straightaway to get through. As this one runs its natural conclusion. So 5 points it is then being added to the Banshees total, taking them through to 73. Just the 2 points for the Chico Rollers on 127. Just a tick on at 20 minutes and 30 odd seconds to go. 36. Oh, not
Whoops.
there. As we find ourselves under an official timeout. Big shout out to all the fans here. Thank you for your continued support of this tournament, which is the statewide Stampede. A big shout out to all the fans watching at home. We just received a message from Nikki B. Good morning to you, Nikki. Thank you for your continued support. Make sure you hang around, ladies and gentlemen. The next game up on track is between the West Side and Ballarat. Two very, very strong teams. Very much looking forward to that clash. So we get this one underway. Banshees happy to have the draw back on to start this one.
And Betty Bruiser is out for lead, and Argy Bargy is back on track.
And we're back after that short little break.
And it looks like we have Library Fine for the Chico Rollers and Bad Jelly the Witch for the Banshees lining up.
And we also have an empty penalty box, which means a full complement of skaters on track as we get this one underway. Library Fine looking for some room on the inside part of the main straightaway, or the outside part from where we're sitting. Gets on through and picks up lead jammer.
And that was very lovely toe stop work there to get through.
Yep. Nice defensive work on offer from the Banshees coming into turn number 1, giving Library Fine plenty to think about. Just trying to find a gap on the outside part of turn 1 and does so successfully, gets on through.
That was a lovely fake out star pass. It was so Bad Jelly made it look like she was off to the pivot, but kept it on.
Unfortunately there for Library Fine, picking up a forearms call, so this one's going to go the full 2 minutes. So the pack then slowly making its way back down the back straight away, and a couple of skaters there on the hit the deck.
Library Fine has returned to track.
KTKO thought they may have been able to bring about a penalty on a down skater, not to be.
And that looks like it was an 8-5 jam with Chico Roller picking up 8 points to take him to 135.
Yep.
And Banshees with the 5 to take him to 81.
So that whistle means end of team timeout. Teams get 2 timeouts per half. And they'll go for 1 minute for people that might be...
3 timeouts total.
3 timeouts total, yep. And 1 official review. We'll discuss the timeouts and the official reviews in depth a little bit later on if we get another break. But we get the whistle and the hammer drop to get this one underway. It is Betty Bruiser jamming then for the Banshees.
Yeah. And it looks like Mayhem She Wrote is jamming for the Chicos for the first time this half.
Wasting no time picking up lead jammer status for the Banshees, of course, Betty Bruiser. The initial pass is all done. It was all about the point scoring pass there. And Betty managed to pick up 4 points to add to the Banshees total, moving them along to 85 And Chico Rollers on 135 with 16 3/4 minutes remaining in this game.
So it's only 50 points between them.
So it is in Cunning Linguist jamming for Chico Rollers. Can't quite make out who the Banshees jammer in, so bear with us. We will get that information to you. Meanwhile, out the front of the pack,
I believe it's Bad Jelly the Witch again for Banshees.
Yep. So lead jammer then going the way of the Chico Rollers and Cunning Linguist.
A lovely spin turn through on the inside for Bad Jelly.
Nice tactical call off there by the Chico Rollers. They saw that Bajelli making some ground up. And decided to call it off before any points could be scored for the Banshees.
And we have a Library Fine versus Betty Bruiser. Both quickly out of the pack, not far from one another. Betty in front for lead.
Almost got a little bit of jammer on jammer action coming into turn number 3. Right. Oh, Library Fine picked up the 4 points there for the Chico Rollers. Fine effort. Fortunately for the Banshees, not adding to their total.
And we have Cunning Linguist and Bad Jelly the Witch.
Correction, I think that's if the tattoos. Yes, the tattoos on the thighs. That tells me that Sparks are right, jamming in for the Chicos.
I was checking the scoreboard. We've got the wrong person up there.
If in doubt, I look at the sheet.
Fair enough.
So Sparks are right. It is lead jammer Chico Rollers. Previous pass, picking up 4 points. Nice use of the inside line of turns 1 and 2. Sparks are right, just doing what they have to do. Points are being added.
And Chicken there taking Bad Jelly all the way back.
Yeah, nice and deep back, almost back into turn 1 there. Nice bit of defensive work there by Chicken. You would expect nothing less, but out front is where it's all happening. Sparks are right. Yet another 4 points being added to the Chico's ever-growing total. This is turning into some sort of a jam. Meanwhile, back into turn number 3. Bajelli the Witch being given all sorts of things to be thinking about. I was just about to say the defensive work by the Chico Rollers absolutely unforgiving when you've got the likes of KTKO and Chicken to have to contend with 2 very, very strong skaters. So the pack then just slowly moving its way through turn number 1. Judy. And a very nice 24-point jam there from Sparks. All right, that's a fair old effort. Moving the Chico Rollers total along then, 167 playing 185. We've got 11:53 to go.
And we're in an official timeout with the zebra huddle having a big discussion happening right on the apex. And with the refs moving back in position, we're about to get back underway.
So we're back underway, and it is Cunning Linguist jamming for the Chico Rollers up against Betty Bruiser.
And that was a very quick exit from the pack for both jammers. They're both right on each other.
So we've got a little bit of jammer on jammer action coming through turn number 2. Cunning Linguist wanted to take the ascendancy there. Betty Bruiser more than up for the challenge. It's a pack now coming through turn number 1, number 2. Got a little bit of speed about it. And Cunning Linguist had seen enough and decided that'll do. Not playing this game anymore. Oh. Okay.
Okay, looks like Jam might have been called dead in that situation.
That was a bit of a scrappy old start. It happens from time to time.
Okay, now we actually have both jammers on track. And we're going into an official timeout just while everything's been sorted out by the head ref.
We are indeed. So as we've mentioned plenty of times already over the course of the weekend, ladies and gentlemen, this is the opening 2 rounds of the 2020 statewide Stampede season. And a really good opportunity for a lot of... Oh, good. Hello, Dolly. How you going? Yeah, okay. A lot of teams, Judy, will be using the statewide Stampede to get themselves set, hopefully, for the June Queen's Birthday long weekend tournament. Just a little gathering of clubs and leagues throughout the joint statewide.
It's not that big. Come on.
TGSS or something? I don't know.
No, it's not that big.
It's not that big a deal.
No. Definitely not.
So fingers crossed that goes ahead, because that is 3 days of complete mayhem. The Great Southern Slam is always a tournament. If you've never been to roller derby and you want to see what 3 days of roller derby played at the absolute highest level is like, you get yourself across to the Adelaide Showgrounds for the Queen's Birthday long weekend. And it is 5 tracks running at the one time. You just do not know where to look, because the standard of roller derby is just insane.
I do believe it is still actually maintaining the largest roller derby tournament in the world.
There you go. And we'll take that. So at this stage, that tournament is still going ahead. We've heard no official word from the organisers, being Adelaide Roller Derby League.
Yep.
They're constantly keeping everyone posted and updated and all that sort of stuff. So they're doing a fantastic job, which is awesome.
I do know that there is a WFDA task force who is in constant communication with the largest tournaments around the world.
Yep.
Just keeping everyone up to date, making sure that any precautions and procedures are met for keeping everyone as safe as possible.
Yeah. So just a tick over 10.5 minutes remaining in this game. And of course, up next on track, it is the mighty Ballarat Rat Pack up against the equally mighty Westside. Now I'm going to get this right. Westside Derby Doll?
Westside Glory.
Westside Glory? Okay. Two very, very strong teams. So really looking forward to that one. So we get to go to resume, and it is out front again, wasting no time trying to pick up lead jammer status. Well, not trying to, getting lead jammer status. It is Betty Bruiser.
And it looks like, despite being lead, it's having a lot of trouble against the Chico's tripod.
So it is a power jam then for the Banshees. Unfortunately, Library Fine picking up a penalty. But the Chico's defense there giving Betty Bruiser plenty to think about as the pack then slowly making its way down the back straightaway. Just the one more to get through. Betty Bruiser does that. And
just as Library Fine returns to track.
And 4 points in for Betty Bruiser on that previous pass. As you mentioned, whilst all that was going on, Library Fine being released back out onto the track. Unfortunately for Betty Bruiser picking up a cut track. Which means this one will run its natural conclusion. Nice move there by Library Fine.
Although it does look like it's a jammer bounce.
So that releases Betty Bruiser back out onto the track.
However, it is a shortened time that Library will be in the penalty box. So has been released just before the end of that jam.
Yep.
So the scores are 174 to the Chicos and 90 for the Banshees.
Ooh.
Blue Bomber has been sent out to jam for the Banshees versus Mayhem She Rode. So Mayhem had a jam earlier on in this half, but it does look like it is Blue Bomber's first jam for the half.
Yep. Certainly is the first time we've seen Blue Bomber on track as a jammer for this, certainly in this half.
So just a little note, it was actually Blue Bomber's first game yesterday.
Okay, right.
And it was her debut.
Nice.
And I do believe there was 2 other Banshees making their debut yesterday, so...
Okay. So Mayhem She Wrote then lead jammer for the Chicos.
A little bit of confusion as penalties were being called, but both jammers are on track, which is, you know, at least points are happening.
Nice hit to the outside part of the back straightaway. Mayhem she wrote. Almost taken back into turn 2. Found themselves back on track. It just has, well, past tense. She had the one blocker to get through. Got through fairly easily in the end, picking up another 4 points.
Slight pack advantage for the Chico Rollers at the moment.
ATKO returning to the track. The blocker advantage going the way of the Chico Rollers. Blue Bomber getting on through, picking up 4 points for the Banshees. So we're just about set to get things back underway with just a tick over 5 minutes 40 remaining in this game. 98 Banshees, 184 Chico Rollers.
And we have Eddie Bruiser out for the Power Jam start.
So the pack there coming through turn number 1. Betty Bruiser with it all to do. Nice bit of defensive work then from the Chicos coming through turn number 2. And of course, who's out front? It should be Chicken. Unfortunately, they're picking up a penalty there. I'm not sure what for. So the blocker advantage clearly with the Banshees.
And a nice star pass there with Library Fine now taking the star.
So Library Fine now is a recognised jammer for the Chico Rollers.
And smart tactics there to call it off just as Library was about to hit the pack.
Yeah, that's going to happen more often than not.
I don't blame them.
Jammers know when there's been a star pass done and they know when to call it off.
But the Banshees are now over 100 at a 102 to 184.
82-point lead with 4 1/4 minutes remaining in this one.
And we have Sparks of Riot versus Blue Bomber.
Nice positional blocking here in front of me by anchor Arji Barji. Unfortunately, I spoke too soon. Arji Barji in the penalty box. I'm not sure what that was for, but out front and lead jammer. It is Blue Bomber for the Banshees.
And it looks like we've had another star pass for the
We have.
Chicos. And once again, do not blame the call off happening as KO was coming up to the pack.
Yep.
Just over 3 minutes left of the half of the game.
Yep. We find ourselves under another official timeout. So we get this one back underway.
Cunning Linguist for the Chico Rollers out nice and quick, but actually not far behind until Chicken went back in front, was Betty Bruiser.
Look at the defensive work out front there. It is Chicken and it is KTKO.
Two blockers who are very formidable.
Giving Betty Bruiser something to think about. In the end, KT had to let her go.
But that was a cut track picked up by Cunning Linguist.
So Power Jam, it is then for Betty Bruiser and the Banshees.
And will be a 2-minute jam.
Yes, it will be. Good opportunity then for the Banshees to pick up some points. As the pack then coming slowly, well, it's a bit of a split pack really. Chico's opting to bridge right out.
Looks like some passive offense being provided by the Banshees. In Betty take control, but in place to stop the drawback from happening too far.
The Cunning Linguist has been released from the penalty box, back out on track now, and straight away met solidly by the Banshees defense there, just on the entry point into turn number 3. Fair to say, Cunning Linguist getting a fair old workout, but finds a gap. Oh, big hit coming through turn number 4. So Cunning Linguist is back on track, all okay. Gets 4 points for their effort. And right in front of us again, Judy, look at the two blockers. KTKO and Chicken are just they're amazing to watch when they're in full flight. They work so well together and they give jammers all sorts of grief.
Providing great support there was Razorback, making sure the bridge was happening so they could actually focus on doing that.
Absolutely.
And we have Library Fine lining up against Blue Bomber.
Yep.
3 apiece for both packs. We have someone in the bin.
Now Library Fine just using the outside part of the main straightaway to full effect. Gets on through, picking up lead jammer. Oh, big hit then at the midpoint of turns 1 and 2 by Chaos. Just taking Library Fine to the outside part of turn 1. Library's okay, she's back on track, all good.
And we've just had it jam called off, which has taken us to the end of the period, end of the game.
Unofficially, of course. Hold the rest now, and the jam arrest will make sure I's are dotted, T's are crossed, all points that should have been awarded are. Making sure no ghost point overlooked. And as a jammer ref, you can easily lose a ghost point here and there. So whilst we've got a little bit of a lull in proceeding, I can see the two teams that are about to take the track next. Of course, it is the Ballarat Rat Pack up against the Westside
Glory.
Derby. Yeah. I'm just going to call them Westside because, you know, that's what I do.
And we've had the rolling whistle, so
All done.
official scores were Chickarollos taking the game with 195 to the Banshees 114.
The two teams now just in their respective huddles. It's about this time we ask all the fans to get trackside and offer up an elbow, which is a little bit strange. We're in somewhat uncharted territory here.
It is uncharted territory, but it's
is.
actually quite fun doing the high
It is.
elbow.
So come on, all you fans, get trackside, offer up an elbow for these skaters. And the fans are slowly making their way out and going, oh, do we got it? Do we have? Oh, yeah, okay, we will.
I always find that it's fear of losing seats
I know.
that sometimes causes people not to stand up.
Which is easy for us to say. We don't have that problem. So as the skaters now making their way around, ladies and gentlemen, we have first out, looks like the Chico. Yeah, it's going to be the Chicos. Number 020 Library Fine, 10 KTKO. Number 181 Cunning Linguist. Number 19 Chicken. Number 22 RG Pargy. Number 37 Mayhem She Wrote. Number 39 Sassy Devil. Number 42 Little Miss Savage. Number 50 Mummy Dearest. Number 82 Sparks Are Right. Number 86 Razorbeck. Number 90 Psycho Analyzer. And 911 Buck and Oath. And on the South Sea side of things we have
0130 Betty Bruiser, 127 Nerg Nightmare, 24 Chaos, 26 Blue Bomber, 360 Merry Extreme, 46 Beck Ops, 480 Donna Kebab, 616 Sadistic Mama, and 96 Bad Jelly the Witch.
And a great game by both teams, and I say this quite a lot, Judy, that the scoreboard sometimes doesn't reflect the game that you've just watched.
Oh, definitely not. With the amount of defensive plays from both teams, that just, it was great to watch.
Yeah. So beside me we've had Judy Bench. My name's JR. It's been great to call this game. Hang around. In around about 15-20 minutes time we're going to get the next exciting game between the Ballarat Rat Pack and the Westside Glory.
Following that will be the mashup team of the Valley Cats versus the Witches of East Vic.
Yep.
And then final game is Nerd versus the Rolling Matildas.
Hey. So plenty of action still to come on this opening weekend, rounds 1 and 2 of the 2020 statewide stampede. Grab yourself something to eat, grab yourself something to drink, stretch your legs, and we'll be back shortly in around about 10 minutes time.